Hello and welcome to this overview of extreme networking using LinkedIn Recruiter. My name is JJ. I'm the Director of Operations for the ABBA Group, and today's discussion will be led by Brian Johansson. Brian is the COO of the ABBA Group. He's also a master trainer and senior consultant. Without any further ado, Brian, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you, JJ, and welcome everyone to our overview of extreme networking using LinkedIn Recruiter. In the next 8 to 10 minutes, my goal is to make the case for why you ought to attend this course. This is one of our newest courses. We get a lot of questions about LinkedIn Recruiter. Recruiting leaders ask us questions like, do I need LinkedIn Recruiter to recruit passive candidates? Sometimes they say, I'm not sure I'm getting the value I used to get out of LinkedIn Recruiter. Recruiters who are using it are saying, I used to get better response rates from in-mails. How do I get better response rates now? Or how do I use LinkedIn Recruiter to find higher quality candidates? All of those questions we address in this particular course, and I want to walk you through that right now. There are really two LinkedIn talent markets that you need to be aware of. One has to do with the active marketplace. Most recruiters who come to this course are really using LinkedIn as an active expansion tool. They're trying to expand the number of active candidates they get, and that's one process, and it can work if you've got a surplus of good candidates. But most recruiters are really ignoring the passive candidate market. And I would say in order to get the greatest value out of LinkedIn Recruiter, you've got to be skilled at going after passive candidates. This requires the ability to attract and nurture candidates. It requires a much more consultative recruiting approach rather than transactional. You can't just offer a skills-based job description. You've got to offer a career move. And the focus is fundamentally different. It's on return on investment and quality of hire rather than cost and efficiency. So my contention is that in order to get the real value out of LinkedIn Recruiter today, you have to have different skills as a recruiter. Now let me make this statement also about Boolean. If you go and take a course from Chalet or Glenn or some of the gurus about Boolean, most of what they teach is very valuable, but it's also focused on expanding the active candidate pool. Our goal is not about expansion. Our goal is to narrow using Boolean to the top 25% of the candidates in a particular geography, not to expand it, and to focus on networking within that pool of candidates, highly qualified people. We'll teach you how to do that in this particular course. It used to be that the conventional wisdom was, I'm going to go after active candidates. They're cheaper, they're easier, I have access to them, they apply, it doesn't take as much work. And I'm going to get 200 and 300 people out, I'm going to weed out the weak, and I'm going to go for the best. Our contention is that given tools like LinkedIn Recruiter today, it is just as cost-effective to go after a smaller number of highly qualified people who are passive and get them on the bus. We call this putting them on the bus. In order to do that, you've got to create an opportunity gap. And that's not going to be just salary, that's going to be a combination of job stretch, job satisfaction, job growth, and on top of that, there'll be some economic increase. We're going to put 15 to 20, 20 to 25 people on this bus, and they're all going to be highly qualified. We're going to find them using LinkedIn Recruiter, and they're going to fall into two categories: people who are fantastic at doing the work that we want done, and they're in that top 25%, or people who know who is fantastic at this work. With 20 people who are good at this work or who know people who are good at this work, we can close the search, and we're going to find them within 72 hours, and that's what we're going to teach you in this course. Now, in order to do that, you have to understand who you're going after, what category they're in, and you've got to modify your sourcing plan. We spend a bit of time in this course talking about what we call the 40-40-20 sourcing plan, where we're spending more time with super passive explorers and tiptoers. That will be explained in the course, and less time with the very active candidates. The key to actually engaging explorers, super passive, and tiptoers is to have a dialogue that will engage them with you as a recruiter. One of those dialogues is what we call time is your most valuable asset. Candidates have a career trajectory. They start out in staff positions, they move up to a senior manager position, they move up to a leader position, and over time, they get to the pinnacle of their career. Depending on how fast that path goes, that determines on where they're going to be in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years in their career. One of the discussions we teach in this course, and we have a dialogue and a script all around this, is it's often more risky not to change jobs, not to consider a job move, than it is to stay in a job. If you stay in a job too long, or if your career trajectory is longer, meaning you're not moving up as quickly, where you'll be in 5, 10, 15 years is going to be fundamentally different. How much you make is going to be fundamentally different. So wouldn't it make sense to just have a 5 or 10 minute conversation to determine if this job provides you with a better career path? That's one of the discussions we have and one of the things that we teach in the course. Good passive candidate recruiters know how to have this and 5 other discussions with candidates that will get them in the game and get candidates interested, candidates who are not active in the marketplace. Another concept we give is this whole concept of using LinkedIn Recruiter to do a simple supply and demand analysis and figure out what your job density is. We go through an example of what this looks like, but this is really comparing active candidates, how many candidates are out there who are potentials in a particular geography, how many jobs are being offered, and you get some sense for what the competition looks like. This is very powerful as you sit down with a hiring manager and try to determine how you're going to go after these people, how long it's going to take, and what type of sourcing you're going to have to do to get them on board. That number is anything less than 2. The active channel is not going to be effective for you. We'll go through this calculation and how you do this and how you have that discussion with that hiring manager. But this is invaluable information that you can get using LinkedIn Recruiter and can help you as you go forward in the job. Now, we also discussed the DualTrack Sourcing approach. Most people, when they go to LinkedIn Recruiter, search for people who have certain skills and capabilities in a certain geography. That's a direct searching approach. Our goal is to go beyond that in 2 fundamental ways. One, we are going to filter those people not only by skills and abilities in geography, but we're going to filter those people so we get to the top 25% of those people. And we'll do that. That's called direct sourcing, and we'll do that. We will also figure out a path to indirect source. Who on LinkedIn can I find using LinkedIn's capabilities to find candidates who knows who's in the top 25% of candidates for this job that I can network with? We call them nodes. We'll teach you how to do that in this course, a DualTrack sourcing methodology. Here are the rules of the game. We'll go through these as well. We only work with the top 25%, and you should too. When we engage them, we're not going to sell a job. We're not going to be a transactional recruiter. We're going to sell the discussion, not the job. In that conversation, 2 things are going to happen. We're going to set the conversation up so by the end of it, the candidate is selling us on their capabilities. We're not selling them on a job. And in order to do that, you have to exercise what we call applicant control. You must control the conversation, and we'll give you the tools to do that. These are the essential items to be an extreme networker using LinkedIn Recruiter. We hope you will join us for the next Extreme Networking using LinkedIn Recruiter course. We teach them at least once a month, sometimes twice a month. You can go online at louadlergroup.com and see the upcoming schedule. And if you have any questions at all, please email us at info@louadlergroup.com, and we'll get back to you right away. Thank you for joining me for this overview.
Great. Thank you, Brian, and thank you for joining us.